Good afternoon. Welcome to the April meeting of the South Central Pennsylvania Genealogy Society. My name is Jonathan Stair. I'm the president. Glad to see all of you out today. I'm very excited about this program for a special reason that you'll learn about later on. Is there anybody here for the first time, never been with us before? Okay, sir, do you want to tell us your name, where you're from, and what you're researching?
My name is Bill Walker. I live in New York now. Before that, Philadelphia, and before that, Miami. What is my research? Well,
Yes.
my research is New England research.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you here anyway. So, and we're always glad when people come back to York County. I always tell people York County's next, John Denver used to say West Virginia's almost having, New York County's almost having. Welcome. Thank you for coming. This time we're going to have Richard Robinstein, read our minutes from the last meeting.
Minutes from March 3rd, 2024 program meeting. Jonathan opened with March 3rd program with the New York History Center. We welcome all those in attendee. There were 4 new attendees that attended that particular meeting. I read the minutes for the February 4, 2023-24 program minutes. They were approved and corrections of Note, the minutes are filed for future reference, one being a hard copy and the other being Treasurer's report. Treasury report was, there was a miscalculation in the January report and read the corrected January report and February report along with the correct balance for January $16,404.08. The balance as of February 29, 2024 is $16,094.71. The membership for the month of February stood at 152. 2 members renewed under the new 2-year plan. Nicole highlighted or spotlighted upcoming events and archive schedule for the month of March. The History Center is closed at present and is expected to open in time for the York History membership at the end of June. Public admission is expected to be at the beginning of July. Further details on upcoming programs and upcoming dates can be viewed on their website. Jonathan mentioned 2 items. We are co-sponsoring with the York County History Center a genealogy seminar Saturday, March 23rd, which will be titled Bunny Sniffer's Genealogy. It will be held in this room from 9 to 12:30. You can be assured that the seminar is interesting and valuable if you have time to attend. The other is we will receive notice from the WITF that on Saturday before the next meeting, they're hosting a genealogy event in Harrisburg at the Whitaker Center. It's going to be in conjunction with a program by Henry and Louise Gates titled Finding the Roots. They're going to show segments of his program related to programs, people in central Pennsylvania, followed by roundtable discussion, also planned for our genealogy fairs and so forth. Vice President Richard Kumpel gave a list of upcoming events. 7 April is Aaron McWilliams, Pennsylvania State Archives, which we're seeing today. 5 May, we get Sacred Hearts Chapel in McSherrystown, off-site meeting. They have currently restored inside, so the views are 9 June is the Henry James Young Award. We are accepting recommendations for the award. As a reminder, June meeting are held on the 2nd Sunday of the month. So I have for that.
Okay, thank you, Richard. The minutes will stand approved as read unless there are any corrections or additions to them. Thank you. Margaret Berg is not here, so I'll quickly give the treasurer's report. The balance at the end of February, as Richard said, was $16,094.71. Income of $215 membership renewals, $70 in new membership, and $80 worth of donations for a total of $365. Disbursements, our speaker fee for last month, $136.20, and Pennsylvania sales tax of $15.96. Total disbursements, $152.16, leaving with a current balance as of March 31st of $16,307.55. The report will be filed for audit. Membership report, we have 153 members, 3 renewals, and 1 new membership. At this time, I'm going to ask Nicole if she'll come and give us any updates from the York County History Center.
Very much. Great to see you all. Just a couple quick announcements. This program is being recorded and will be available on the York County History Center YouTube channel. The museums and library are currently closed for moving. The new History Center at the steam plant will open to the public in July. We'll have open house events for members in late June, so stay tuned for that. It's coming along really well. We're looking forward to moving, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We will continue to hold programs like this one here in the meeting hall until the new building is available. For updates, please visit the yorkhistorycenter.org website. Upcoming programs on Sunday, April 14th, we have the Friends of the History Center Luncheon at the Yorktown Hotel. I believe Jim McClure is speaking about the history of the hotel for that. On April 17th, the Civil War Roundtable Program speaker is also Jim McClure, speaking about York County's reaction to Fort Sumter. On April 24th, our all-vet speaker is Jason Knowles, who is a Marine who served in Afghanistan. And just to save the date, on May 11th, we have a new program entitled World War II Briefings. And it's a panel discussion on World War II. This one, we hope to hold it quarterly. This one's going to be on the home front here in Yorktown. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole. Just a couple items before we have our speaker. Richard mentioned our Bunny Slipper Genealogy Seminar, which we had on March 23rd. I'd like to thank Lynn Nelson and Richard Kunkel for being our speakers, and they donated their services. So the fees that we took in will be pretty much all profit, except for a few expenses that we had. So I want to thank them in particular. Also thank Margaret Berg, Jason Miller, and Erica Rumpels for coming to help as well. We didn't have quite as many people as I had hoped, but I think it was a good time. Also like to thank Lynn Nelson for going with me to the WITF Genealogy Fair yesterday. We met hundreds of people, so we gave out a lot of stuff. I'm hoping that that results in some good contacts. One of the things that we did in preparation for that is Lynn and Erica and I, and very quickly designed a new poster to take with us on the road. It's standing back there if you want to take a look at it. Margaret had put one together for us before. It was getting pretty beat up and worn, so we decided to replace it and have it done somewhat professionally, so you can take a look at that later. April is the meeting when we have to present our ballot of officers for the coming program year. The current nominations are as follows: President Jonathan Stair, that's me; Vice President Richard Kunkel; and Director at Large Tom Gibson. Where's Tom Gibson? There he is. So those people are on the ballot. If you would like to make a nomination, feel free to do so. We are going to have the official election. We're supposed to have it in May, but because the May meeting is all site, we're going to have it in June with a brief business meeting right before the Henry James Young Award. So if anybody wants to be president, please let me know. I'm willing to advocate at any time. So I also want to note that our latest special publication number 91 has been printed and mailed. If you have received it and there was a problem with your copy, please let me know. also out there in TV land. If you got your special publication and a problem, please let me know. We're using a new vendor. We want to make sure everything's working well with that. So don't hesitate to contact us if there's a problem with that. Any other new, yes, Mike?
It was just a quick question, and I apologize if you already said it. For that next meeting up in Conowalker Chapel, we should meet at 2, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Not 2:30, and we meet up there.
Yes. That was the very next thing I was gonna say. Thank you.
Sorry. Is there a bit, are we gonna go into the church right away, or are we?
As far as I know, yes. I'm planning to be there early enough, be the first person there. Or maybe Richard will, well, I guess I will be, knowing Richard.
Maybe
Richard Cutler, not Richard Robinson. I'll try to be there early so that I can figure things out and direct people as they. Any other business before I talk about upcoming programs? Okay, so as Mike mentioned, the next meeting will be a tour of Conowalker Chapel, which I believe is the oldest Catholic basilica in the United States. I think somebody told me that at one time. It's outside of McSherry's town. If you need directions, just go to our newsletter and the address will be there. You can plug it into your GPS, whatever you use. If you don't use GPS or you need further help, send an email to the website or call me. I'll be glad to tell you how to get there. My daughter lives right around the corner from Conowalker Chapel, so I know exactly where it's at. As Mike mentioned, it's important to remember that meeting starts at 2 o'clock, so please be there at 2 o'clock for that program. And Richard said last meeting, I've never been inside the building. I've been past it a couple times, but he said they've restored some of the frescoes and things inside, so it should be really a great tour to go to. Our June program will be the Henry James Young Award Program. Again, as Richard read during the minutes, this is the second Sunday of June. There will be 2 awardees to be announced. One of them is very special, and that's why we're kind of holding back on announcing that. We may release those names shortly. There will be a short business meeting for elections before the Henry James Young Award, but most of the program will be that. And I didn't check with Nicole, but I think we're still uncertain whether that'll be here or down the new building. Is that correct?
It's a little unclear.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
So-
not quite sure yet.
Watch the newsletter, watch our website, watch our Facebook page for information about the June meeting. And just a reminder, the first meeting of the new program year will be held on Sunday, August 26th. And there'll be more to come about our future programs. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Aaron McWilliams, who is head of public services at the Pennsylvania State Archives. And it's particularly meaningful to me because he took my place at the archives. And just want to tell you a little story. You probably heard this story before. But when Aaron was in college, he interned at the state archives. He was working in another part of the program. And I had a huge order for land records. And Aaron was doing on his own time some personal research on land records. And so he talked to his supervisor and said, you know, he wouldn't mind helping me out. And so Aaron helped me out that summer. And we did research on properties in a township in Bucks County. Some guy was, what? Salisbury Township, Bucks County. Some guy was documenting all the original property owners of Salisbury Township, and so we did that. Aaron was the only intern I ever had who took an immediate interest and understanding of land records. He picked it up right away. And so after that summer, I kept on saying, if he ever becomes available, we want to hire him at the state archives. Well, he made a mistake, went to the Department of Banking first, right? Is that the history?
Yeah, I went to Maryland State Archives, then the Department.
Then Department of Banking. Unfortunately, he eventually saw the light and came to the state archives and worked for me for a number of years. And when I retired, he seemed to be the obvious choice because he's smarter than I am. He's nicer than I am and better looking than I am. So he's a great asset to the state archives. So without further ado, please welcome Aaron McWilliams.
Thank you, thank you. You failed to note that part of the qualification for that position is to have 3 daughters, and I was the only one with 3 daughters. So it was just basically given to me because of that. But thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here. And as I was mentioning before to some of you, I'm always invited here and it's always a new presentation. So you guys are kind of my testing ground for any kind of new presentation I'm doing. If there's some rough spots, let me know. We'll do our best to get through it. And as you know, we have a new building. It opened up in December 2023 after being delayed multiple times. It's a beautiful building, as you can see here, and it's even more beautiful inside. So I encourage you all to visit. We are still offering tours every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. up until the first week of June. Who knows? They've been very popular, so we may continue doing it even further. They started just with 1 month, and then it's been February, March. So swing by, you'll get scenes of not only the search room, but all the back scenes, the storage rooms and everything. So I really encourage you to swing by if you have a chance every Wednesday at 1:30 in the afternoon. So let's get started. Pre-visit preparation. Just like any repository you plan on visiting, you need to prepare before coming to the archive. And it's even more so now. I'm sure some of you have been to the archives, the old archive building before. With the new facility, a lot more is digital, electronic, and online. It will take a little bit to get used to from what we used to have in the search room. So a lot of prep work should be done at home and can be done at home before you visit. Just like any repository, the more preparation you put into that visit from home, the better the results will be when you finally get there. First stop is always our website. Many of you are familiar with it and have played around with it. It really hasn't changed over the years too much. Some heads up though, there is a plan to make changes to it. The Commonwealth is changing all of their web pages and are currently in the process of making those changes. So right now, this is what the web page looks like. I can't guarantee that by the summertime. So keep looking at it, browse around. If you've never been on it before, like see what's there. But most importantly, play around with our online catalog. Many of you may be familiar with it, have used it, been in place since 2021. We know all the benefits and negative aspects of that catalog. But right now, the new building, that is the primary way of finding what we have, both originals and microfilm. And I encourage you all, the more you play with it, the more you'll understand how that catalog works. And you'll be more comfortable as you get into the archives and use it. So I highly encourage you to play around with the website and our online catalog as much as possible before visiting. You can access it 2 ways and play around with it 2 ways. You can go under research online right from our landing page and get to basically your keyword search. You can type in any kind of keyword in, it will pull up everything within the collection that has that keyword. It is a starting point. I do that often. I type in whatever phrase I'm looking for to see how many results are there. It gets browsed. But keep in mind, it will pop you up anywhere within the collection hierarchy of our records. If you put in a keyword search, you can get a hit in the series level, a word at the series level. You can get a word at the container or the box or carton. You can get a hit at the item level. So when you do a keyword search, it's going to throw you somewhere within our collection. Fortunately, there's usually a breadcrumb hierarchy that you can follow back to the series level and collection level. But keep in mind when you're doing that keyword search, that is going to throw you wherever in our catalog. That tends to throw a lot of people off. You're searching. The way I tend to go into the catalog is I go into research guides on the web page and then click on collections lists. We have a record group and manuscript group listing of all our collections. It's kind of like it was on our old pages when we had ARCON or the PHS or the HTML pages. It'll list all the collections that we have in order of the collection number. So if you do that search, what's going to happen is you click on the collection, you're going to start at the top, and then you can browse your way down. That is the best way to get familiar with our collection, I feel, and that's typically the way I go into the collection. It's starting at the top down and working. But I encourage you all to play around with that site as much as possible. The more familiar you are with it, the better and more successful you're going to be when you get to the archives. Now, if you click on anything within the catalog, you're going to get some type of page that's going to have information. The number one level in our catalog that you want to get to is going to be the series level. Whenever you do a search, whenever you browse, it will know if it's a series or a group or something like that. You want to get to the series level in our catalog. The reason why is it provides you the most amount of information on that particular series or group of records. This is an example of one. This is just War of 1812. You'll have the scoping content. You have the hierarchy, so you know where it is within the collection. You have your boxes, your A numbers, and most importantly, it'll have physical access and any other stipulations related to that collection. It'll tell you if it's restricted. It'll tell you if it's on microfilm or digital surrogate. It'll even give you a link on there to PA Power Library. What you'll find is a lot of our record groups, more popular record groups, are on PA Power Library or online. We're going through. But knowing this will help you know where to go in our collection when you get to the archive, whether you're going to be in the service room or you're going to be in the originals. So play around with the catalog. That's the number one thing to take away from it. Work with it, get comfortable with it. If you're lost in it, we can certainly help you when you get there, but some familiarity with it will go a mile to get there. Now, in our catalog, and this is new, you can request the records in advance of your visit, up to 5 days in advance. If there's a record in our collection that's not digitized or the microfilm hasn't been digitized, you can request that record. The key is you have to get down to the item level, all the way at the bottom of the hierarchy. You'll get a request button that appears at the top of the page. You click on that. You can put in that request to us. We'll get it and we'll pull it in advance of the day that you get there. It'll save you some time. Now, you don't have to submit multiple requests for each item in a box. We'll pull the whole box for you. You do it 5 days in advance. That's something that we've never done before. It seems to be popular. We have a lot coming in that way now. But I stress, you don't have to put in a request for each item in a box. Pull the whole box. We've had people put in 20, 30 requests, almost all of them are from the same box. We'll filter it out for you. You don't have to worry about that, but it just saves us time from all the clicking. Now, in preparation location, all of us know we have a new building. That is the address for the new building. It's about 0.8 miles, just over 3/4 of a mile north of where the old building was. I mention this because we've had a lot of people that, even though they knew we were in a new building, went to the old location anyway. Just because they put it in their GPS or they went to a website that had the old address in it. And you'll find that nothing is ever forgotten on the internet. There's a lot of places still have our old address. And the signs at the old building are still there saying it's the state archives. But we're just up the road a bit, so make sure when you're getting ready to go, put in your GPS, correct address that's there. All right, so you did your work, you looked at our catalog, you got familiar with it. Now let's visit. Well, what happens when you get there? The first thing you're gonna have to deal with is parking. There is free parking at the new facility. We have a dedicated parking lot that you can park in. It's just off of Harris Street. You can't enter the parking lot from Harris Street. You'll see the arrows. Basically, you would turn on the Harris Street, then you have to turn on the Wallace. And it's off of Wallace that you can actually get into the parking lot. Now, once in the parking lot, there's going to be plenty of space. We have over 30 parking spaces there. You don't have to worry about trying to find a space. So find a space, park. The most important thing to remember though is when you're ready to leave, there is a code to get out. We'll try and tell you that. We'll mention it when you come in. We're at the desk. We'll mention it before you leave. We will give you a code. The code is good for that week, Wednesday to Friday. So if you're making multiple trips, just keep that code with you. But we'll provide it. But sometimes we're busy with other folks in the search room. Sometimes we have a security guard there. He's off doing his rounds, and some people are eager to get out or they're running late. They leave without the code, and then they come puffing back when they can't get out. But just remember that You'll need a code to get out, not get in, you need a code to get out of the parking area. If you don't want to deal with that hassle, you can park free on 6th Street, right in front of the building. Rarely is that ever filled up. There's always parking spaces along 6th Street that you can park right in front of the building if you don't want to deal with our parking lot at all. Or if you get lost and you've been looping around, you just park right in front on 6th Street. It is free parking there also. So you parked, you come walking in to the search room and see the lovely building. Now, just like the old building, it's kind of sectioned off. You have a lobby area. You're going to have a self-service area, which is kind of equivalent to the old microfilm room, been to the old archives. And then we have an originals area there. So it's broken into 3 parts. And depending on the nature of the research, that will direct you to where you're going to be going in the building. First off, when you walk in the door, you're going to walk into the lobby area. Lobby area, when you just walk in, you'll see the sign, the front desk, the lobby desk where you'll sign in. Just like the old building, you sign in. The lobby area also has the lockers. We have 36 lockers. They vary in size. There's size for everything. There's the largest size is even big enough to hold an adult. The reason I know that is because we caught an adult crawling in there on camera. So we know you can fit an adult. So any size, if you're going to be going to the airport, you can bring your luggage. We have space for it. They do take quarters, just like the old ones. We have ones at the front desk to loan you, but you do get them back in there. It's also where you'll find our restrooms. We have 5 single-use restrooms there that you can use. Right next to the restrooms are the water fountains, and we actually have a station to fill water bottles also there that you can use. What people have been loving is also, we have a snack area now in the lobby area. There's a refrigerator, there's a microwave, there's a sink. You can bring your food, you can cook it up there and eat it right there in the lobby. We won't chase you out anymore. And you can throw your trash away right there too. You don't have to walk out the courtyard and dump it in the trash. So we have a nice little area that people can eat and drink and take a break after doing some research. Now, after the lobby area, you're going to cross into what we return. Oh, wrong button. Got it backwards again. You're going to walk into the self-service area. The self-service area is what the microfilm room was in the old building, except now there's no microfilm. All of the microfilm that we had in our old search room has been digitized. And the county microfilm, the record group microfilm, the manuscript group microfilm that we had in those cabinets are now accessible on the 16 public access computers that we had in the search, in the self-service area, that you can access those. The only caveat is the railroad microfilm and some of the land record microfilm hasn't been uploaded to those computers simply because we're trying to save space. And they're usually the things that are least requested, but they can be made available if you let us know in advance. We also have a little reference library there. It's not much. There's several hundred books in there. You can certainly browse, take a look. They're not for general circulation, but you can, if you bring a spouse along, they can just sit down and read a book while you're doing your research. Yes?
Are the digitized county microfilms, does that take you to the power library or is it special digitization at the archives?
I will answer that in a second.
Okay. We're doing the segues here, but.
All right, so if you walk in, you're going to sit down at one of our public access computers. This is the screen that you're going to see. This is the landing page. It's going to have a series of short, quick links to pages, our regular pages. So you got our online catalog. You'll have research online, research guide. You'll have a link to the state land records on there, and then you'll have links to the digitized microfilm for both the RGs, MGs, and the county records. And then we have other links that would be helpful too. You have one to the birth and death indices and the records on Ancestry. We have geological websites like Ancestry.com. We have the institution version, so you can access the US and world databases on there. We have links to family search and bold free on there. But the major ones, getting to your yes.
What's the latest in the death certificates?
The latest, what we
What's
have
available?
online,
Yes.
right now it's up to 1970. That's online. Index wise, it's 73.
Okay.
I'll touch on that too a little bit.
Okay.
Now, if we were to sit down, if you wanted to look at our county microfilm or any of our RG or MG microfilm, those are the two links that you're gonna be dealing with. And specifically to the question as to if I wanted to look at some record group microfilm that's on PA Power Library or anything along those lines. The county microfilm, the manuscript group microfilm is not on PA Power Library, it won't take you there. And we'll cover that. The record group microfilm won't take you there either. However, you would want to look at PA Power Library first to get the roll number. And then you can access it here, and I'll show you what I mean a little bit later. But you would click on one of those to access what used to be on microfilm that is now digitized. If I already click on the county microfilm, we would get a page like this. It is very non-flashy. And the reason why is it's a temporary measure right now. We are developing software that will take the place of this, that should go into effect next year. I'll talk a bit more about that a little bit later also, but you can click on it and it'll pull up this page. Yes, Evan?
Do you have newspapers.com on your system?
No, we do not. We don't have a subscription to that. No. So you bring up this page, it'll give you 3 links for the county. You'll see that the top one will have the find me. You click on that. And it'll pull up a page, a web page like this, where you can pick whatever county that you're interested in, and it will provide all the roll information that you used to find in the old black binders if you were in our old area. So if you click on Adams County, you can bring up a list of all the county microfilm, what's on each roll, and under what county department that it's under. I usually leave that little tab up when I open it, because I'll take that information and then I'll click on either county microfilm or municipal microfilm next. If I do that, it'll pull up a page for the county, and then you click on a county, whatever department it is, the type of record, and then the roll number, and then it'll give you a list of all of the digital images that are on that roll. It's very similar to Family Search. And the fact that you put in a place that you're interested in, it would give you a headings, you click on the headings, you click on whatever particular record you're interested in, and then it would show you all the roles. That's exactly how it is, just not as flashy. So you would click all the way down to what you want, you would have all that information from the guide. And what I suggest doing is when you get to the image level, is you just right click on open link and split screen, and then you'll get it something like the screen over there, where it'll have a list of all the images, and then you have the image that you clicked on viewable. What's nice about it is it's fast. You click on an image, it pops up. And that's why if you come in and you're interested in some of the record groups that are on PA Power Library, I go on PA Power Library, just get the roll number, I hop on here, and you can flip through like it's nothing. And that's what I use to make copies of some of these records. So I just get it off PA Power Library and sit there. It's faster than our own database that we have on site that we use in the back. But it seems like a lot. It just takes using it. There's always someone in the search room that can help you get it through. But once you use it once, it's very straightforward. You can download off of it, you can print off of it, right there on site.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sorry, question online about use of personal laptops. I'm assuming people can bring them.
Yes, you can bring your own personal laptop in. You will not have access to the database though, because that's in our network and it's directly connected to those computers.
What about saving? Can people save to thumb drives? How do you?
You're getting ahead of me.
I'm sorry.
Watch the question. Next screen.
They can't help it. We're this excited.
On the main page that we had before, we have other little shortcut links at the bottom. The one with the little cloud and the arrow, that is the download. If you download anything off of Ancestry, anything off of Family Search, anything that you're using on the computer here, you can download anything, and it'll put it in a file for you that you can access by clicking on that little cloud. It will open up and show you all the different things that you downloaded. You can download it off of our own digitized microfilm and everything. And if you do download in there, you have several ways to get that to you. You could print it. We do have printers. It only print 8.5 by 11. I know at the old place we had a choice 11 by 17. Now it's only 8.5 by 11, but you don't even need to print. You could just download all of it, and you could, and this is what I recommend, emailing it to yourself. And you can do that before you come in preparation, write down your email, username, and password. You bring that in, These are connected to the internet. You can get to whatever Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo that you're interested in, log into your own account, and then what you can do is just open those up and email those to yourself as attachments. So you never have to download anything onto a flash drive. You don't have to print anything. You don't have to give us any money. You can just put it in your own email and email it to yourself that way. If you don't want to do that, or if you forget your login, you can use a flash drive. We have a link there that you can use a flash drive, but just like at the old place, you have to purchase our flash drive. And we're even more sticklers on it now because these computers, unlike the old ones, these are directly connected to our network. We get a virus that goes into our network and crash our computers and our network in the background. So all of the computers now have locks on them for their USBs. So even before you can get a USB in, you can't sneak it in and stick it in. You have to get it unlocked by going to the lobby desk archivist to unlock that USB drive for you. And at that point, they'll check to make sure that either you purchased it from us or tell you to purchase it from us. If you would buy one before and we come back with that, I know in the past we allowed people to buy it and then use it multiple times. What I would suggest doing, because we're not going to allow that now, what you would do is you purchased it, you download what you're working on. In the evening after the day, if you're going to come back the next day, unload it onto your computer or whatever it is. So you save it on whatever computer. You bring that flash drive back in, we'll take it and give you a free one to replace it. We'll just wipe out the other one and clear it off and then reuse it.
Is there a way you can, people have their own phone or flash drive or memory sticks? Is there a way you can just check them for clean?
No, we don't. That was something that we run past IT to see if we could have something that could run a check on it, but no.
Or can you do something, erase it completely and then use it there?
No, we would have you just use ours. You buy it that one time, and like I said, if it's one of ours and you bring it in, we can switch it out again for free. So you're not paying multiple times, it's just that initial time. But like I said, to avoid it altogether, just email it to yourself.
What you said? $10?
Yep, yep.
$10?
Yeah, they're 8 gigabyte. The newer ones are starting to be 16 gigabyte in size, the flash drive. But to avoid all that, I'd say just have your login for your email, and then you can attach.
Well, I got a lot of time to build that.
Yes. But, and then we have another link for paying online, the little shopping cart. It's handled the same way as it was before. Shop PA Heritage, we're still using that right now. Although they have started, we just got a contract with a company that will work on a new direct POS system. So that's maybe in a year time will go into effect. Yes.
Can you put it on your Google Drive? I see Google up there. So if
You can open up Google, yeah, and if you log into yourself, yeah, you can throw whatever you want on your Google Drive, yeah.
And then the other question I have is, if we do print out, what's a page cost now?
You guys are good. We're just talking about the checkout payment online. It's still 25 cents a page like it was, it hasn't always been for 8.5 by 11. However, the only big change is we don't start charging you for those paper printouts until you hit $5. So you can have 23 pages of printouts. And that's every day. We don't keep counting if you keep on coming back. So let's say you've done your research, you've identified a record, and it's not digitized and can't be accessed on one of our access computers. The next step is the originals area. Originals area is located all the way in the back behind an actual locked door. You have to be buzzed in to get into the originals area now. There is room for 14, well, there's 14 chairs. You could probably fit more people in there, but there's 14 chairs. You have 6 regular sized desks, and then we have 2 oversized for maps, very similar to what it was in the old building itself. It's a beautiful room, much larger, a lot more light in it, and there's a lot more cameras that you're dealing with. I think we have 40 cameras in that room now to monitor, and they're high resolution, not like the old ones that we have. And so we always have a couple people monitoring them too at all times. So if you identify something in the original room or original that needs to be pulled, this is the room that you're going to be going to. But before you can even step foot in there, there's a couple things you need to do. First, register at the lobby desk. It's the same as it's always been. We have a user form and a researcher agreement that needs to be signed. It's been in place for several years that you have to do that. If you've already been at the archives and registered, only thing you need to do is update it. See an ID and update the information for you. And then you're in the system, we're able to print out a records authorization form for you so you can access the records. After registering, same procedure. If you haven't put your stuff away already, we'll tell you to put your bags and everything away. In the handouts themselves, you'll have information on kind of our rules, what's allowed in the search room, what's not. So you know ahead of time what to bring, what can go in. Just so you know that cameras are welcome in the originals area, computers are records, you can have your phone, you can take photographs, non-flash of the records, just like it's always been before. But we'll have you put all those things away. And we tend to tell you to do it then because that gives us time to print out your records access authorization form. If you had stopped by the archives or done research in the originals area, for the past 3 years or just before the move, we were printing these out just to get practice, but now it's a must. You need to have this to request the original record and have it delivered to you. The reason why, barcode. We use scanners now to trace all the record movement in the collections. So when a record gets pulled, it's scanned to a card, it's scanned to a person. So our pages will pull that record, scan it to themselves, take it out to the search room, and they'll scan it to you and the desk. So we have real-time tracking of all the records and their movement. So if something goes missing, we can look to see who had it out, when, how long, and then we can sync it up with the 40 cameras that we have to see what went on with that record at that particular time. I'm barcoded. I carry a barcode on me all the time. Everybody in the archive is barcoded, so we're all tracked in our movements of the records. It is a step up in security, and you need to have this. This will be given to you at the desk after you register, so you can get it back into the originals area. Next, request for record. Like I said, you may have already done this from home. Again, up to 5 days in advance, you can send in a request, and we'll pull it that morning. And so when you get there, you get into the back and you say, hey, I've requested records in advance. They'll know, they'll be able to pull it and get it to you, save some time. If you haven't, that's fine too. You can sit at one of the public access computers and you can put in a request. We can sit there and work with you and help you through it if you struggle at home. As long as we have an A number, we can find it really quick. And we can put it in for you. It'll go there instantaneous to the back. The only thing I suggest is once you put in a request, it's always good to get up and walk back there with your records authorization form just to let you know they're there. Because they might not have it pulled or might not call it back until they know you're physically there, just because some people can put it up 2 days, 3 days in advance. So that's just what I would recommend doing. After you put in the first request, you can go back, say, hey, I'm here, they'll give you a desk, then you can pop back out to the search room and continue place the request. The other suggestion I have is based on the limitations we have on how many records can be pulled. Right now, we're limiting everybody to 1 cart with 4 containers per cart. So if you put in a request for 8 different containers, 8 boxes, 8 cartons, no matter what, we're only going to pull only 4 of those out at one time. If you're done with those, we'll switch them out for you. So when you're putting in requests, you don't have to sit there and put 20, 30 requests in advance. We're not going to pull all of those. We'll probably pull 4, maybe 8. You're only going to get 4 at a time, regardless. My suggestion is what you do is if you're going to put it in advance, put 4 in. When you get in that day, check in, register, get through all of that stuff. When you get back there, let them know you're there. At that point, you can go out to the front, or you can use one of the computers in the originals area, put the next 4 in if you want. And then by the time you're done with that, you'll know that your other ones are pulled and waiting for you in the back, and you just have to request them when you're done with those. It just makes it a lot more smooth for us and for you, knowing that you're not going to get a bunch at any time. And also, important note is we're not going to know what order of a priority it is for you. So if you submit 5, 6, 7 boxes requests, they come to us, we don't know which one you want first. So if you're putting it in advance of them, so keep that in mind. That's why I say always just put 4. Then you're guaranteed to get one of the ones you're interested in immediately. If you put in 20 and the one you're most interested in is number 10 out of that 20, well, you might have to go through a bunch of boxes first to get to it. So just something to keep in mind when putting in requests. I stress it again, if it's already been digitized or microfilmed, it says it in our finding aid, that's where we're going to direct you first. If you put in a request for this, we're going to see that it's already been digitized or microfilmed or restricted. That's going to be a flag for us, and we're going to direct you to the microfilm and not pull it immediately. Yes. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. What if you, something comes up and you've made a request? And there or whatever, and you have to leave or you can't make it that day, how do you back off the request then?
Well, you can certainly contact us. You can send us an email. If you're, for instance, if you put it in advance and all of a sudden, you know, you're not gonna be able to make it that day, you can email us as soon as you know. And what we'll do is we'll either stop it and make sure we don't pull it, and we'll just kind of delete it. And then just tell you, hey, just save, what records you were interested in, so you can put them in again. But let's say it's that day, we may have already pulled them. That's still fine to let us know. That way we can put them back sooner. We just don't let them sit in the back.
Because maybe as you're researching an earlier one, it's taking longer, and now you can't do those that you requested.
Yeah, and if you're gonna be there multiple days and you have multiple things, you can just say, hey, can you hold this card for me? I'm gonna be back tomorrow. And we'll do that for you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sorry, Aaron.
Yep.
Is there any time, issues with using the computers or using the originals room as far as how long people can stay at computers?
no, we don't set a time limit on there. We have plenty of computers now, more than we've ever had before. And we haven't had an issue with too many people in any of the rooms. Right now, the busiest we've had 8 people in the back at one time, but we always had space. So far, we haven't hit any issues of space wise, so we've had to ask people to time out yet, and I don't expect that. If there's a large group, we try to put them, we try to limit the large groups. I usually say no more than 8. If they're planning to have a group tour come in, just so we don't run into that issue.
How many computer terminals do you say that?
16 in the self-service area. We have 16 public service or public access computers, and then we have 2 in the original. So if you're in the originals area, you don't have to go back out. You can just use those back there.
So you have 16, you said you had 8 was the most you ever had, right?
Yeah, most people in the original group, yeah, 8 people at one time, and we had space for 14 people at any given time. All right. So what's new and in the pipeline? We get questions a lot, especially whether you're going to replace your online catalog software. We're not replacing that anytime soon. But what's new? What's happening now that we've moved into this new building, and what you can expect maybe in the next year or so? Well, first off, we got a number of new records. We have held off on bringing new records in during the move and in preparation for the move, so we can keep control of our collection. Everything's been scanned, microfilmed, and accounted for. We didn't want to start adding records during that time period. So now we're starting to get a whole bunch of records coming in. And the first batches that we've got that are most relevant to most of genealogical research is we got the 1960 National Guard 201 files, and we've gotten a lot more in the way of state hospital records. The big one that I was interested in the most in is the Polk Center photographs. We've always had a collection of photographs, and these are patient photographs. Now, before we had, I think it was microfilm or microfiche, and the images were pretty bad on there. These are the original glass plates that went with those photographs. So they're much crisper and better than the microfilm copies that we got for some of those. And then the extra files that we got kind of fill in where we had gaps before.
What's the Polk Center?
Polk Center was for the mentally disabled. It was in Venango County. It was Venango County.
children.
Yeah, primarily children. He said there. And then we got some more Laurelton, Hamburg Center, again, same kind of situation. Warren State Hospital, we've gotten more records there. And then we've also digitized the microfilm that we had already of the state hospital, including Norristown, the one that has been restricted for a while. Those have just come back. We just got done quality checking. So now we're going through to see what we can make available through the public access computers in the search room. Yes.
I am so excited to see Warren State Hospital records there. I didn't notice what's gonna happen today.
Yeah.
How complete are they?
Warren State is fairly complete for the early years. It's one of the completer ones that we have file wise. A lot of them we don't have files for, but
It's digital?
no, these aren't digital. I don't think we have any of the case files on microfilm, if I can recall. I don't think any of those were. So they're just a re-up. So, yeah, so long as the person's been dead for 50 or more years, then their patient file is perfectly accessible, especially the specific file. Yep. Possible.
What's the overall significance of records of that?
Well, for genealogical research, they can be a gold mine. I mean, they not only have information on the patient themselves, but usually they're trying to find out the history of that mental illness that these people were suffering. So they talk about family members. You can get information on parents, siblings, and even more details of when some of these symptoms start. So they can be a wealth of information if you're lucky enough to have a full case file. So it's a great resource. And then, of course, we got 1918 and 1973, 1918 births, 1973 death certificate and indexes, just in the same rotation. Every year in January, we get a new cache to them. Ancestry has finished scanning up to 1917 for the birth and up to 1972 for the deaths. Right now, they finished scanning those. I don't know when some of those will start appearing. They don't let us know that. But they finished digitizing those, and now they are working on the rest of the PA National Guard service cards on their website. Right now, they have up to 1919, 1920, those cards. They used to be on Arius. Now they're continuing with those cards up to World War II, leading those. And there's talk, although I don't know if it's been inked, but there's talk about doing the Pennsylvania Railroad Voluntary Relief Enrollment cards as a product too. So in the works.
It's the picture here,
That is from, I forget what hospital. I think that might be Polk. That's there. I think that's Polk.
pretty dark. Tell what's, I mean, it's a crowd of people sitting at the table.
Yeah, it's a bunch of fairly young children sitting at the tables there, but I believe that's from the Polk. And the biggest news is the digital archives. This is what I was talking about with our digital microfilm on our computers and the system of how not developed it is. It's because this system that we're working on right now, this software, is what's going to replace it. It's kind of an all-in-one package that we're working on for the digital repository. So it's going to cover every aspect of our digital collection, digital retention, and public access. When this is up and running, right now they're saying summer of 2025, but with IT, take it with a grain of salt. But when this goes into effect, the public access point, or part of it, will start bringing in a lot of those digitized records that are on PA Power Library, pulling all that off there and putting it on here. It's going to have our manuscript group stuff that we've digitized. And what we can for the county, some of the county records can't put accessible outside of the facility. But it's going to take all of those and our whole digital collection that's available, including maps and everything that's not online right now, just because we don't have the space. It's going to take all of that and make that accessible like never before. And having played around with some of the websites that are associated with Nova, which is the company that's handling it, it is a pretty robust open access that they have for public use. So we have very high hopes that at the very least, it'll be easier to access in the PA Power Library. But that should come out hopefully summer of 2025, and that will replace kind of our systems on the computers inside, and then it will open up more of our records to the folks outside at home. I'm looking at the ships list. Those will be available then at that point, the higher resolution images that we have. So I'm very excited about that. Look forward to when that goes up in the near future. Any questions? Yes.
What are the funding sources for both the construction and all the digitization?
The construction of the building, that was taxpayers. The total cost for the building, about $69 million. Now, keep in mind, some of that money had already existed a long time ago. That's just been sitting there for a while. They did pass additional legislation to give us more money, but it was taxpayer funded for that. And the same will go with the digital archives solution that we're working on now. It's all taxpayer. Yes, sir.
What about the special collections microfilm? Has that been digitized?
Yes, yeah, that is part of the manuscript group.
So, okay.
Yeah, so if you would go into our CAM system, what we refer to for the access it on there, if you click on that, there's a finding aid, just like there is for the county. You click on that, it'll have the special collection microfilm in there too.
Is that a particular, that's MG, right?
MG 262. Yeah, so it's with the MG. So
Okay.
Yeah. So those are all up there. Yes.
How much access do you have to family search in your universal?
We're not affiliated archive with them, so it'd just be what you would have access to. We have a generic account that we can log in, or you can use your personal. I usually just use my personal, I'm sitting there with let's log in. Any questions?
This is your chance.
This is your chance, yeah. The thing I can stress the most is playing around with our catalog. That is the biggest stumbling block for everybody. It can be hard for us to find things in there, but the more comfortable you are with it, the more prep work you do at home, with the finding aid, the better it's going to be when you get there. It'll make it a whole lot easier for you and for all those records. You can maximize your time there. Yes,
I do have a more personal question.
Okay.
I have an ancestor who was, got a revenue appointment in 1868, and he was appointed a storekeeper in the revenue department for a congressional district comprising of York, Cumberland, and Perry counties. Is that something that would be more on a national level or at the state?
if it's the PA Department of Revenue,
It have to be,
yeah, I don't think the Department of Revenue was,
yeah, that's something like a federal.
yeah.
I figured it might be, but I thought I'd ask. Yeah.
But I mean, we do have commission books, if it happened to be a commission books. But yeah, that's.
No, I think that was a federal appointment. So what I would do is go to the National Archives website. And
I forget the name of the book.
don't type in revenue, because we had all kinds of hits
Yeah.
with revenue, but you could put in. I think they have an option for bullion operators. You could put in like store, whatever you, storekeeper and revenue, and see what you come up with. And I want to mention something about their searching on their website, on the State Archives website, is do not put in a word that's common. You know, if you're looking for a coal miner, don't put the word coal in, because you'll
Yeah.
get hundreds of hits.
Don't put just a county name in there either. I've done that because keep in mind, it will search
Yeah.
every reference of that word in the entire catalog. So you're talking about millions of entries in there. You're gonna get tons of hits. So yeah, if you're gonna do a keyword search, keep it to something very unique, name of some sort, really narrow it down. There are advanced settings in there, but they work. But they don't necessarily work the way you want them to work. For instance, I could limit a search to a particular collection. I could say, search only this record group for this term. It will not search every reference to that term in that record group. It will only search that use of that term in the headings for groups and series names. It's just the way the thing works. So that's why I say, learn some of these quirks, it'll make it a lot easier. You know, spend that time at home and not trying to figure it out on site when you're at the archives.
And if you want directions from York, I know the quickest way to get there now, so, see me. Don't take the 2nd Street exit.
I don't know, I hear the way Jonathan drives, so I don't.
That's why I let Lynn drive yesterday.
Go Camelot Street.
I normally get off at 13th Street and go down to Cameron, then up Cameron to her, and then take her over to, what is that, 7th?
Yeah, 87th
Right,
Street,
right,
right on
right.
7th Street, yes.
Then when you come up Parrot Street, you're right there, as you mentioned, you only enter the parking lot one direction. So you want to come up from the front.
That probably varies at the time of day too, doesn't it?
Well, I've always found it's quicker to get off 13th Street than 2nd Street.
Just keep in mind, if you've never been on 7th Street. What? Oh, I won't have to. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so 7th Street's over on the far right there. If you're on 7th Street, there are large speed bumps. I've hit one of those at night forgetting about them, and I've gotten airborne and I thought I was at the bottom of my car. So just keep that in mind. There are large speed bumps on 7th.
I think we need to go track that. One quick question
Sure.
online. Do you offer any research services, paid research, like, or reference, say someone is having trouble finding their things in your catalog? They email you questions.
Yeah, they're welcome to email us questions. If you send it just to our resource account, just the State Archives email, that will get to me. And we'll try and answer it and give them possible directions to find what they're looking for. We do offer limited reference services. If you're on our landing page, the PA State Archives page under forms and fee schedules, you can click on there and that will list out kind of what what areas we'll do searches for, but you can send us an email with any type of question. We'll do our best to answer.
Any other questions for Aaron? If not, let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you. The meeting's adjourned. If you want to talk to Aaron individually, feel free to visit with him.
You said about newspapers, you don't have it at all, or you just don't have it right now?
Newspaper.com.